Good afternoon. Thanks for being here. I'm here today with Colonel Noble and Lieutenant Colonel Mark Sear and members of our public safety team to talk about the steps that we've taken to crack down on those illegal street takeovers. I'm also joined today by Police Chief Bender Perez and Sergeant Skinner of the Brockton Police Department and Chief Kelly Furtado of the Fall River Police Department. Just a reminder about the national trend that we're talking about. I talked to you about this just last week. We've got events that are organized on social media where drivers go out, they block intersections, they invite other drivers to join them, and then they stage car racing, all sorts of dangerous maneuvers, races, burnouts. We saw in South Boston last week, it ended up with fireworks and a police car being set on fire. These participants are ignoring lawful orders to disperse. They're concealing their identities a lot of times with masks. They're acting aggressively at times towards police officers, and in some cases deploying fireworks. This causes public disorder. It's a damage to property. We've already seen that. And it poses a real significant threat to public safety and certainly harms quality of life in our neighborhoods and communities. I said last week we have zero tolerance for this kind of behavior and that we were going to get after it and be on it. So I wanted to provide an update on that work. First, statewide operations to deter street takeovers are having an impact. In response to our directive last week, on Saturday, October 11th, state police troopers, coordinating through our State Fusion Center, worked with local departments across eastern and southeastern Massachusetts to disrupt and prevent planned events. These were events that were advertised by people online. The results of these operations included 232 civil citations, 74 warnings, 20 criminal summons, 7 arrests, 15 vehicles towed, 2 vehicles seized under the Controlled Substances Act, and 1 stolen car recovery. Most importantly, we saw none of the disruptions in our communities like we've seen in the past few weeks. And it's thanks to the great police work across this state. Now, this is not to suggest that our work is not done. We've got more work to do, of course, and we're going to continue to stay on it. But, you know, I came before you last week. I said this was an issue. I listened to law enforcement. We've been convening roundtables, and I'm just proud of the great work of the police teams to get this done. I mentioned the convenings that we've had with law enforcement. On September 24th, we convened local and state law enforcement in Brockton to learn about issues in communities and to continue to talk about ways we can strengthen our partnerships. On October 2nd, we continued with coordinated patrols by state police troopers and Brockton police officers that resulted in more than 200 motor vehicle stops, 33 tows, including 5 illegal scooters and off-road vehicles. State police investigators also arrested a person on cocaine and fentanyl trafficking charges, and that means deadly drugs were taken off the street thanks to these actions. And I want to thank Chief Perez and her team for all of their work on that matter. The second thing I can tell you about today is that we're going to double down on this work. It's important work. Again, it's about public safety. It's about quality of life in our communities. Today, we're announcing $14 million in safety grants to cities and towns around the state to support traffic enforcement and to stop illegal activity. Recipients of this funding include 210 local police departments and 10 state agencies. Every resident of our state deserves to live in a community with a high quality of life and where public safety is assured. And the men and women working across police departments are out there every day trying to do just that. So we're making sure that departments have the resources that they need, as well as the operational support that they need. And I think that here in Massachusetts we see tremendous coordination and work between local and state law enforcement officials. Third thing I want to tell you about is that moving forward, of course, we're going to continue to meet with police departments and others in law enforcement to talk about the ways that we can further coordinate, share best practices around stopping illegal activity and keeping our neighborhoods safe. Again, a lot of the reason for the success of this has to do with the continued coordination, communication between and among our local and state police officers and agencies, and I thank each and every one of them for that. So we're going to keep doing the work to keep our neighborhoods safe, and I'm going to continue to ask for the public's cooperation. I said last week, look, if you see something, say something. You know, you see something online, somebody posting an invitation to join up at one of these car meetups, say something about it. It makes a difference. Call 911. Let people know. I'm also going to continue to make my message clear to people, whether they're coming from Massachusetts or coming from outside of Massachusetts. We've got zero tolerance for this stuff. Zero tolerance. And as shown by this past weekend's efforts, we'll find you, we'll hold you accountable. I'd now like to invite Colonel Noble up to share some more about these specific operations. Colonel.
Excuse me. Thank you, Governor. It's an honor to be with you and all of our partners here today. As the Governor mentioned, we had the opportunity a few weeks ago to spend some time together. State and local leaders came together and we talked. We talked about the issues that are facing law enforcement and that are impacting public safety. Those conversations began as an opportunity to discuss the results of a highly effective public safety grant program created 2 years ago by the Healey-Driscoll administration, and they quickly became a forum to share ideas about the challenges facing our communities. Across the Commonwealth, leaders identified illegal street takeovers as a shared and growing concern. While we never underestimated the enormous complexity of these challenges, we knew as police commanders and as police chiefs and as public safety professionals that we could work together to develop effective solutions. The two operations the Governor highlighted today illustrate the power of collaboration, the power of working together to meet the evolving needs of the Commonwealth to make our communities safer. Beyond any one mission, state and local police work hand in hand every single day to disrupt major crime, to remove illegal weapons from our streets, to seize narcotics and deliver strong cases to our prosecutors. None of this would be possible without our team, our collective team of troopers and officers who are out there day and night risking their lives to do this work. Without the vision of this administration for public safety and our collective resolve to reject the status quo, the results speak for themselves, and Massachusetts continues to lead the nation. While many factors contribute to this success, at its core, it depends on qualified women and men stepping forward to put their hands up to serve. The more good people we can invite into these careers, the stronger our outcomes will be. No one understands this better than Governor Healey. I want to close with a word of thanks. Thanks to our troopers that were out there Saturday night. We had approximately 50 troopers out there working, and these troopers volunteered. These troopers volunteered for this detail. This is tough work. This is dangerous work, and they did it to an exceptional level. They were professional, and they were very effective. I want to commend and thank them. I also want to send thanks to our colleagues across law enforcement who share the responsibility of building a better Commonwealth. The alignment between us is unmistakable, and it gives me great confidence in what lies ahead. And at this time, it's my honor to introduce the Chief of the Brockton Police Department, Chief Perez. Chief?
Good afternoon. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Governor Healey. The Brockton Police Department is committed, remains committed, to protecting our community through strong partnerships with Governor Healey, Colonel Noble, and the Mass State Police as we address illegal street takeovers and reckless vehicle gatherings. In the recent months, this dangerous trend has been seen in Brockton and many other municipalities across the state. These illegal cars, meetups, street takeovers have negatively impacted our residents, our businesses, and our city as a whole, damaging personal and real property, disrupting businesses, and affecting employees' production and services, disturbing traffic, and dangerously interfering with emergency services, creating serious risk of personal injury to onlookers, pedestrians, passengers, and even injuring one of my officers. Our officers have worked closely with the Mass State Police on multiple joint operations, including targeted patrols, enhanced traffic enforcement in known meetup areas. These coordinated efforts have strengthened our ability to respond swiftly, keep our roads and communities safe, and have available have resulted in numerous stops, citations, removal of illegal bikes, off-road vehicles, summonses, and arrests. This proactive enforcement and strategic coordination of resources and effort happens because of the professionalism and dedication of the men and women of law enforcement in the Mass State Police, and I would like to commend them for what they do every single day. I'd like to thank Governor Healey again, and now I'd like to introduce Fall River Chief Furtado.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Street takeovers continue to pose a significant danger to the public and threaten the quality of life in our community. These unlawful gatherings endanger lives through reckless driving on public streets, the illegal blocking of roads, and dangerous acts such as igniting and exploding fireworks towards vehicles and onlookers. These are not car enthusiasts who gather on a Saturday morning in a parking lot to share their passion for automobiles. These are organized groups whose purpose is to cause chaos and disruption, to create public disturbance, and to draw attention from both the communities they harass and the police who want to protect those communities. And they have succeeded in gaining our attention. In response, the Fall River Police Department has expanded directed patrols in known problem areas and strengthened coordination with the local and state police. These efforts focus not only on responding to incidents, but also on identifying and disrupting organized gatherings before they occur. Through enhanced intelligence sharing, regional collaboration, and proactive enforcement, we are working to identify those responsible for organizing and participating in these unlawful events. The organized and fluid nature of these disturbances requires a united front, and together with our partners, we are committed to ensuring public safety and holding these offenders accountable. We also want to express our appreciation for a quick response and continued support from Governor Healey, thank you, and her team in helping to address this statewide issue. We also appreciate the continued assistance from the Mass State Police Colonel for the additional resources, thank you, that they provided over the weekend. From major cities to small rural towns, every community deserves to live in peace and safety from this kind of reckless intimidation. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it. Thank you all. We're happy to take any questions on topic to start.
Some have said that either there aren't adequate charges against the individuals involved in these takeovers or adequate bail, because sometimes the bail amounts are low. So obviously you can enforce the laws on books. What would you say about increasing criminal penalties or DAs fighting for higher bail?
Well, look, I think we should always be looking at whether or not there are things that we need to do by changes in legislation to better address issues of public safety. But I think what's important here is that, we heard about this activity taking place in communities. It's illegal, it's wrong, and it interferes with people's quality of life. And so we took action. And, I think today is a testament to what it means when local and state law enforcement work together, bring intention, bring energy, and get it done. And I'm really proud of the work that was done. And hopefully, today we'll send a message to others out there, like, we were serious. When we said zero tolerance for this stuff, we meant it, okay? So we shut it down last weekend. We're going to continue to shut it down and continue to work together, and I appreciate, I'll just give you an example. So somebody posted, right? Yeah, somebody posted online late afternoon on Saturday, come to this meetup. And that was identified by the investigative team. And people were ready to deal with that. And a little later that night, that individual was arrested, in fact. So, it's an example of, I think, how quick, how nimble and innovative law enforcement teams have been on this. And as I say, I would like for it to be that we don't need men and women out on the streets to deal with this anymore because people have enough sense to not do it in the first place. But that hopefully is a message and a takeaway from all of this.
Governor, the takeovers came up at a White House meeting earlier on this week. It sort of caused the president to say that we'll pull World Cup games from the city of Boston from Massachusetts. I'm curious if you're conscious of this federal spotlight and if they're actually paying attention to these additional actions they're taking.
I did read about that. I was a little curious because the games are, of course, in Foxborough, and I think that Robert Kraft and the team have safety well in hand. I'm quite confident of that. I'll also say that, Massachusetts, we remain among the safest states in the country because of the incredible work done by law enforcement at the local and state level, and we're just going to continue to do that. We're going to support our men and women. We're going to support funding for them. I'm proud to be able to distribute $14 million today to local departments so that they can deal with issues of traffic enforcement and real quality of life stuff. Yesterday I was with the colonel. We were at a ceremony honoring police officers and troopers who stepped forward and showed tremendous courage in the face of different situations over the course of this year. Really dangerous situations. We had people who were shot. We had people who, were lucky that they made it through, all in service of public safety. And it's just to say, there's actions that need to be taken every day by law enforcement that involve, issues of murder, of domestic violence, of drug trafficking, of gun trafficking. That's always happening. It's also the case that men and women are out there looking to care for the quality of life in neighborhoods and communities, and I feel like every resident of the state of Massachusetts is entitled to that. So, these illegal street takeovers, they matter. They matter, and they were interfering with quality of life, and that's why once again everybody worked together so quickly to hopefully snub this out.
Governor, Secretary Tibbetts nuts.
Any more questions though on topic?
So Governor, so what's your message to the president who thinks he can get rid of soccer in Boston next year because of what's happening on the streets?
Oh God, come on! I that's just more political theater, so I don't really pay that too much mind.
So you don't believe that he has the power to get rid of these FIFA games?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it doesn't make any sense. And as I say, I think the Crafts and everybody who's been working hard on this, and in other cities around the United States, has this under control. But that's another day, another Donald Trump comment. So you got to understand what that is.
How far along is public safety planning for the World Cup?
Yeah. It's something that continues every day, every week, every month as we build up to these games. There's been a tremendous amount of planning and coordination and thought about this. Remember, this is the equivalent in Foxborough. Imagine, okay? It'll be in Foxborough. This is the equivalent of 7 Super Bowls, right? So we know we're going to be welcoming a tremendous number of people from all around the world. I think that's super awesome and exciting, a chance to show off Massachusetts, our great state, a chance for tourism, and a chance for a lot of economic development and dollars coming in. So, we want fans to have the absolute best experience, world-class experience here, and I am quite confident that they will have that, and that work, that coordination continues.
Governor, was Secretary Tibbetts nuts?
Any other questions on topic?
Yeah, I have a question. Governor.
On topic?
Yes.
Okay.
So all of this public show that you're doing today and last week after these events that took place in Boston and elsewhere, are you mindful at all of this rhetoric that is coming out of the White House and the action that took place with talk of the National Guard? We've seen the National Guard get called out in a couple of other cities. That combined with the rhetoric coming from the Trump White House, is that why we're seeing such visibility here?
No, I'm doing my job as governor. I mean, you guys know me. I was Attorney General. I support the work of public safety in the same way, my mission is to make sure that here in Massachusetts we're focused on building more housing, lowering costs for energy bills like I talked about the other day, lowering health care costs, and also right now dealing with and trying to mitigate against some of the serious harm by the Trump administration and the reconciliation bill that has cut effectively $3-4 billion from our budget over the next couple of years. But public safety is important, and so using my authority and working with the teams here, it's been important to operationalize that and make sure that every day we're showing up on public safety as I have throughout my career.
I have one more on topic.
Okay.
Is there any nexus between the street takeovers and other organized criminal activity, gangs? And then, sort of a follow-up, there's a No Kings protest scheduled for this Saturday. Headliner, Mayor Wu, Are there any security concerns there?
Yeah, I'm going to let the Colonel speak to those issues.
Thank you. Regarding if there's a nexus between these street takeovers and other organized criminal enterprises that are out there, I think that in law enforcement, it is our job to make sure that we are doing a very thorough job to make sure that we are looking for those connections, and that is what is occurring here. So we are doing this operation that took place on Saturday is not a one and done. This operation, there are continuing investigative efforts that are ongoing today. We did have several motorists during that operation flee from our troopers. So there are ongoing investigative efforts to continue to identify those individuals. So the work that we are talking about today is not isolated to an 8-hour operation. These are ongoing efforts. What I can certainly tell you is that we are leveraging not just the state police various divisions to include our investigative services, our gang unit, our Homeland Security Division, our air assets. This is an operation that when it comes to public safety, we have the ability and we are using and pulling whatever lever we need to make sure that any type of organized effort to disrupt our public safety, the Mass State Police, and with our local partners, we are going to work on. So I can't comment more specifically on any specific connections, but my message is we certainly are doing everything we can to identify the organizers and the drivers of these major public safety concerns. And regarding the protest, we certainly are aware of a major event this weekend. This is also in part of national events as well. The Mass State Police for some time now has been working with all of our partners, to include our partners throughout the nation, to understand this event, to make sure that we have a proper security plan in place. And I just would absolutely highlight the fact that that plan is cornerstoned by collaboration with Boston Police Department, with our Fusion Center, and I am confident that we will have an appropriate security measure out there to ensure that that is a peaceful day.
With the recent violence, political violence and protests or something like that, is riot gear or increased presence, are those part of the plan because there is violent political protests? So is that part of the plan?
So I can't speak to any specifics as far as our tactical response capabilities. What I can ensure is that we, as we always have, as we have continued to do so here in the Commonwealth, the Mass State Police, Boston Police Department, and all the various stakeholders, we have a layered security plan, and we will be prepared to deal with whatever that we have to.
Colonel, has there been an actual numerical increase in the amount of the street takeovers in the past couple of weeks or are they just more visible now because more people care about them? What's the situation?
Well, to be clear, the Mass State Police has been, along with our partners, has been tracking street takeovers as an issue for quite some time. We understand this has been occurring gradually for actually several years across the country. When I meet with other police commanders from across the country, this is not isolated to Massachusetts. The response to them to ensure public safety is a bit of a challenge, because we don't want to respond to a street takeover at 2 a.m. with 200 cars, and now we have 200 motorists fleeing at high rates of speed, which just creates additional issues. So the real challenge for law enforcement is to come at this with a real holistic approach, and the goal here is prevention. I want to be clear. Our goal is to prevent chaos. It's to prevent public safety issues. We will apprehend those who violate the law, but our primary mission is to prevent these from occurring before they happen.
And I also just say, look, you guys know what happened through COVID, right? We saw more of this people taking to the road and racing and doing all sorts of things that were unlawful and put people in harm's way. And so I'm not the expert, but I personally sort of observed that the trend started then and has just continued. And through some of the roundtables and other discussions, I learned that it was happening in more places around the state, and so that's why we took action. I think that Colonel Noble has come in and done a tremendous job leading the Massachusetts State Police. I'm proud of the work that they're doing every single day out there. I'm proud of the training. I'm proud of the talent. I was just in Springfield at another graduation the other day. And again, once again, grateful to all of those who are willing to step forward and serve as police officers or, as troopers. So I feel very good about Massachusetts State Police and where we are. And I can also tell you this, both Colonel Noble and I are of the view that every day it's about how do we get better? What else do we need to do to get better? And we'll never lose focus on that.
Governor, any plans to attend the No Kings protest this weekend?
Not as of right now, but I haven't made, I don't know what my schedule is for the immediate weekend. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, guys.